So now that it's inside of a table, hey presto, I can now start to query that. So what I'm going to look for is I'm going to look for the top statements by duration. So I can then go and see what statements took the longest period of time. Now this is where we start to need to do a little bit of detective work. So there's my statement there, and I can have a look. That took a long period of time. Declare I int equals big number while I is greater than 0, spin round. We've got a problem there. So let's go back to our developers. There's nothing that I can do as a DBA in order to fix that query. That was our CPU intensive loop there, sitting around spinning for I equals to a big number. So what we want to focus on is we want to look at our CPU, remembering we said that the CPU is the workhorse that we've got inside of SQL Server. So if we start to have a look at that, we'll start to now see some of our real queries coming out. So you'll see that what we've got here is we've got a select statement. Okay, yep, just selecting from a store table. And we've also got a transaction, okay, where we're updating a person table. So they're the two ones that I'm going to start to focus on because they're my top two worst performing queries that I've got on this box at the moment. But what I can also do is I can then also get a little bit down and dirty. So we had a look at a very unsophisticated way about doing it, but we can go and leverage our dynamic management views in order to identify exactly the same thing. So remembering if we hadn't had a trace running at a point in time, this is something I can go and run at any point in time to go and get what the top 10 worst performing queries are. So there you'll see there's my select statement that I've got there. So giving me exactly the same information again. Okay, so let's go and analyze the SQL trace file, just looking for that store statement. So you see there's my statement there, it's a select. Looks pretty harmful, pretty mundane to me. So what I want to do is I want to go and look at the execution plan for that query. So if I go Control L, or alternatively query, display estimated execution plan, what you'll see is that I'm doing a table scan there. And you'll notice that we've got this green text that says that we've got a missing index. So every time the query optimizer determines that SQL Server could have executed this query more efficiently if it had an index, it will go and record that inside of the missing indexes dynamic management view. So you'll see that basically I'm costing 99.9% of my workload because I don't have that index there. So what I can also do is, if I don't know that, is I've got a great CTE here. All I'm doing is I'm going and hitting query stats and SQL text. Query stats determines all of the statistics about our statements, and then what we've also got is our SQL text, which then allows us to identify the actual execution plan that was used at that point in time for that query. So we can look at any particular point in time and see what did SQL Server do in order to execute that query. So you can see it's been the total I/O that was used. We can then go and click in our statement plan. If I click in the statement plan, it then goes and shows that's what SQL Server actually did in order to then go and get the information out of that table there. Okay. So how are we going to fix that problem? Based on what we've seen so far. Yeah, no. Yeah, you're going to add an index. So let's prove that. So you'll see that I've got my DB missing index details. That's going to give me lots of information, or just in this case just the one. So you'll see that I've got my missing index on that object, the name column that we should add it to, and the statement. Okay. But what I like to do is I like to get a little bit more funkier than that. So I've got a query here that goes a little bit further. It's using missing indexes. And what it does, it actually generates the create index statement for me. So I can then go and run and identify what are the missing indexes and the actual script to generate that. And I can then go and see what the measure would be of how much performance improvement I'm actually going to get rather than the estimated. I can go and now if I create that index and I analyze the execution plan, so that's our query before, what you'll see is that we're doing an index seek now. So seeks are good, scans are bad. So a seek is effectively like going, I'm looking for Smith in the white pages, rather than going A, B, C, D all the way through to S. I'm actually going to SMIT, and then I just need to then do that seek directly from that location rather than having to go and do a scan across the entire table. Now, if we cast our minds back, you'll notice that there was an issue with an update statement as well that we identified. So let's go and just have a quick look at that again. Okay, there's our update statement. All of those statements up until there were me. So let's have a look at that update statement. So there's our update. Updated VentureWorks person. Set my last name equals parameter 1. Business entity equals parameter 2. Now, why did that take so long? What was the issue with that? Maybe I've got a bit of locking and blocking going on this machine. So what I can do is I can go and look at that event class that I captured and identify any blocking that occurred. Because there we go. We can see that we had a blocked process. You can see all the process information, the transaction, how many times it was executed, etc., etc. And if we keep scrolling through, there's actually our statement as well that was available to us. So we can identify that the reason we had the performance issue with this particular statement was because we had a block that was going on. And I know because I wrote the test harness to do this, what I did is I actually opened up a transaction on a table and stopped the update from actually happening. So that's why we've got performance issues there. But we can also visually look at that if we scroll back up through inside of our profiler. We can then go and see those events. There's our block process report. There's the information there. Okay. So very quickly we've been able to go and use the dynamic management views. Because surely there's got to be a better way than this. Do we really want to roll up our sleeves every single time we're doing some performance tuning and have to get down and dirty with dynamic management views? Who gets all excited about all of our dynamic management views? Yeah, some people. So there's got to be a better way. And look, that better way is actually what we call WARDY IT Solutions Virtual DBA. So look, our Virtual DBA has basically got a lot of awards, including Most Innovative Product, etc., etc. But really, it's a cost-effective solution for you guys to manage the day-to-day challenge that you have as DBAs. When you guys go on holidays, when you're being dragged off operational support into project work, making sure that the waste paper baskets are being emptied in the organisation. If you look around your office today, you'll notice that you've probably got waste paper baskets sitting next to your cubicle. Do you guys empty those waste paper baskets? Yeah. Well, a couple of people do. Yeah. Is it the most effective use of your time, though? No. Exactly. So the same thing from a DBA's perspective, going through those daily, weekly and monthly tasks, are they the most effective use of your time as a DBA inside of your own organisations? You've got strategic knowledge and value that you can add to the organisation. Simply checking that the backups, although it's key and core critical, is not something that adds value to the organisation. And that's where something like Virtual DBA allows you to do that. So look, how does Virtual DBA work? I'm a DBA, so I've written it for DBAs basically. So I wrote the original code base. Obviously some people have got better coding skills than I and have extended that quite significantly. It's designed as an agentless service. It sits on side of one machine inside of your topology. You don't need to install it on all of the SQL instances. As soon as it gets dropped into that topology, it will go and find every SQL Server instance you have. You then get to choose what servers get monitored for what particular points in time. We then automatically then start to get alerted when there's issues. So if a service stops, if we've got performance issues, we can proactively then get all of that information and it gets sent home. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I know 2 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, I'm going to be probably a little bit rusty after hopefully watching the Cats get up over Collingwood, because no one likes Collingwood winning. So I'm going to be a little bit dusty on Sunday morning. Do you, if you're dusty, want to be responding to a page that goes off at 2 a.m.? Well, we've got a 24/7 NOC team, so a Network Operations Centre, that is available to actually look at this. And look, if you don't want us to respond to it, you can go and use our own dashboard that we provide you. So let's have a look at how the Virtual DBA works. What you get provided with the Virtual DBA solution is you get provided with a SharePoint portal that you can log in and get full transparency. You get everything from billing information, so who's worked on what they did, through to all of the things that you would expect around the statistics of SQL Server. You also get an iPhone app as well as a Windows mobile app and an Android app that's about to come out as well. So you can be sitting on your couch and actually see the status of all of your SQL Server instances there sitting on your phone. So if we log in as the user here, actually type my password right. So basically we've got a SharePoint portal at vdba.wardyit.com. So there you'll go, you'll see that there's 3 servers inside of our network topology that we manage as part of the demo. You'll see that they're green. We've got a nice little help menu here. The screen resolution's a little bit funny, but basically tells you what the issue is. Basically we're looking, if it's server's red, it means we've actually got a server down. Green means that, you know, the server's up, but there's still different issues, so critical, non-critical, and I like this one. No reportable errors, go and have lunch. So look, I can then drill into each of those particular servers, and I then go and get my traffic light report, so I can see across all the key critical things at a snapshot. Green being good, orange corrective action, hey red, we've got a real problem here. You'll see that we've got a number of reports over time that we then show. We capture differences periodically every month as well, meaning that we can then go and see what configuration changes have occurred in the environment. We've got full capacity planning with this, so we can go and see disk over time. So we can then go and see things like file details and then go and see the growth across all of our database files. Being SQL guys, all of this technology is driven directly inside of reporting services, meaning you can export that out to Word or Excel or do whatever it is that you want with all of this information. So we can then go and see our size. You can see we can do comparisons across different periods of time with all of this information. So this is technology that comes out of the box with Virtual DBA. Not only do you get the portal, you get all of the monitoring, you get a team of experts 24/7 looking after your SQL databases, and this is a team that gets hot and horny about going into dynamic management views and doing everything that we showed you just before. They see lots of sunlight. So look, the next steps, if you guys are interested in what we looked at today, I'll be making these scripts available. You also notice that I've got a microphone on at the moment as well. We're actually going to try something new and actually make these recordings available afterwards. So we'll see how we go with that. But we'll certainly send everyone that attended all of the information. So guys, if you're interested in a solution that might be able to help you cost effectively manage your SQL environments, we do what we call a SQL immersion experience, is where we actually get to understand your environment. As part of that, we do a health check and review, identifying any key critical issues that we build a work plan around, and then we have our virtual DBA around that. So look guys, an offer that we're going to make available to everybody here is we're going to basically make virtual DBA available for a month free. So if you'd like to try it in your own organisations, we'll drop it in there. What it also means is you actually also get what we call a daily health check. It's a PDF that's sent out to you at 7 o'clock every morning, which is a summary across your entire topology. If you guys are looking for costings, we can certainly talk about that more, but it's basically a fixed cost. It doesn't matter whether you've got one SQL instance or whether you've got 1,000 SQL instances, it's exactly the same cost from that perspective. So guys, if you want to trial, let us know. A couple of upcoming events, so all of the events are obviously listed at WARDY IT. We've got a number of events focusing around Queensland Government. We've actually got our SQL Server for the Oracle DBA course, very, very popular course, because if you think about organisations, and we spoke before about that compression, often there's cross-skilling that needs to occur in the organisation. So this basically takes an Oracle DBA and introduces them to SQL Server. All the $V views that they're used to looking at and things like that, we show how to do that with dynamic management views, how RMAN gets replaced by SQL Agent and backups, things like that. We've also got a business intelligence launchpad. Look, we ran this event the 22nd of this month, and it was absolutely outstanding success. So we're going to run that again. Super price on that as well. It normally is $650 course. It's only $249 for Queensland Government, so it's super value there. Plus, last but not least, many of you might know of a lady named Kaylin Delaney. Kaylin's responsible for the Inside SQL Server series of books, probably one of the best SQL internals books available there. She's a good friend of mine, and we're actually bringing her across to Australia in March. She hasn't been out here since 2008, so that's going to sell out very, very quickly, that course. So Kaylin's got the ability to actually then get deeper than anybody else that I've known with SQL internals, but she does it in a way where it's all the way through from zero to hero. So by the end of the 5 days, your brain's going to explode.